All right, let's dive into this wildflower garden idea you've been exploring. Looks like you've got a pretty impressive collection of videos and articles here.
Definitely seems like you're serious about creating a haven for pollinators.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
from what I'm seeing, going the native wildflower route is key.
Oh, for sure. Native plants, they're not just pretty faces, you know? It's about the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm seeing that theme everywhere in this material. It's like they're the VIPs of the local plant world.
Exactly. Supporting everything from the butterflies all the way to, well, the bugs we don't always see.
Right, like those less glamorous creatures under the leaves and all.
And even though we might not want to think about them too much, those ugly bugs, they're critical too, part of that whole web of life thing.
So it's not just about attracting butterflies and bees, it's about the whole shebang.
Mhm.
Makes sense. But how do we even start picking the right wildflowers? It's a bit overwhelming, honestly.
It can be. One expert, Eve Hanlon, she suggests starting with native wildflower seed mixes.
Seed mixes.
Yeah, specifically made for your region. That way you've got a curated selection all ready to go.
Okay, that does take some pressure off. But even with a regional mix, wouldn't there still be tons of choices?
True, but that's where that right plant, right place idea comes in.
Right plant, right place. So like matching the flower to the personality of my garden.
Basically, each wildflower has its preferences. Soil, sun, you name it. It's like matchmaking, but for plants.
I like that. Eve actually talks about a friend of hers in Maryland who was struggling with this whole choosing thing. How they finally figure out what to plant.
They got really specific, looked at resources just for their area, considered things like soil pH, deer pressure, all that.
So really getting down to the nitty gritty.
You got it.
Yeah.
And it's also important to consider what your wildflowers will look like, especially if you've got neighbors or a landlord to keep happy.
Ah, so blending in with the surroundings instead of sticking out like a sore thumb. I see Eve mention that.
Exactly. And that brings up another big decision. Annuals or perennials. They create completely different vibes in a garden.
To be honest, I always mix those two up. Quick refresher.
Sure thing. Annuals, they do their whole life cycle in a year. Sprout, bloom, seed, done. Perennials, they come back year after year.
So if I'm aiming for that low maintenance, tidy look, perennials are the way to go.
Definitely a good option, especially if you're new to wildflowers. Eve has a good tip. Learn to tell young wildflowers from weeds.
Oh, that's smart. Especially since I was thinking of starting everything from seed, to save some money.
Starting from seed is definitely cheaper, but Sarah McHale, she mentions it can take a while for a seed-grown area to fill out, like 5 years for her meadow.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Seed-grown, it's going to be wilder, more spontaneous. A designed garden with perennials, that's going to have a different look. More structured, I guess.
So it's a trade-off, huh? Cost versus that curated look.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before we even plant anything, there's that whole soil prep thing. Sarah McHale seems pretty adamant about not tilling.
Yeah, she really emphasizes that. At first, I was surprised, but her reasons make sense.
Yeah, why no tilling?
Tilling, it messes with those good fungi in the soil, the ones that help plants thrive. Plus, it can actually bring weed seeds up to the surface.
So you end up with more weeds. Not what we want.
Right. So instead of tilling, Sarah, she's all about smothering.
Smothering. That sounds intense.
It's basically covering the ground with cardboard or landscape fabric, blocking the sunlight, killing off whatever's there.
So like a slow motion plant battle.
You could say that. And there's this cool trick she mentions. Sometimes she lifts the cover a bit, lets weeds sprout, then smothers them before they go to seed.
Genius. Like a weed ambush.
I know. And once you've prepped the soil, both Eve and Sarah, they're big on mulching right away.
Mulch, yeah.
Yeah,
Just keep the weeds down, right?
definitely. And it helps the soil hold on to moisture so you don't have to water as much. Eve even says not to mix the soil and mulch.
Why is that?
It's about creating a better barrier against those weed seeds. They can't sneak through as easily if the mulch is its own layer.
So it's like double the protection.
You got it. Now, even though wildflowers are often drought tolerant, they still need some water to get going.
To help those roots grow deep, right?
Right. And Sarah McHale, she has this interesting way of watering. She waits for the first signs of wilting.
So the plants start to droop a bit.
Exactly. Then she waters deeply. It's like she's training them to be more self-sufficient.
I like that. We're not just giving them a handout, we're helping them thrive on their own.
That's the goal.
Speaking of goals, I remember Eve Hanlon saying, start small, dream big.
Such good advice. No need to go all out right away.
Right? Start with a manageable area, learn as you go.
Exactly. And be open to making changes along the way.
Gardening. It's a journey, not a destination.
So true.
Now, we've been talking a lot about meadows, but I see some info here on woodland wildflowers too.
Ah, yes, Elizabeth, our woodland expert. Woodland wildflowers are a whole different ballgame.
Different how?
They're all about timing. They bloom early, before the trees get their leaves and block the sun.
Oh, wow, so they got to be quick.
Exactly. A short but spectacular show.
Sounds magical. But I bet finding woodland wildflowers is trickier than those meadow varieties.
It can be. Their seeds can be tough to collect. Elizabeth recommends getting potter plants instead. And she mentioned the Grown Native website, good resource for nurseries specializing in woodland wildflowers.
So even within wildflowers, so much variety. From meadows to woodlands, wow.
Isn't it amazing? It's like nature provides so many options. What's grabbing your attention from all this info?
Hmm. You know what's really hit me? This whole idea of choosing native wildflowers to support the whole ecosystem, not just for the looks. Like creating a haven for all those creatures, even the ones we don't see. And those tips for finding the right plants, matching them to the garden and all that.
Seems like you're really starting to visualize your wildflower garden.
I think I am.
That's great. You know, it's really interesting how each of these experts, they have their own take on wildflower gardening. Like Sarah McHale and that whole smothering thing. What do you think about that?
Smothering. Honestly, I've never tried it. But the way she explained it, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's not just about killing the existing plants. It's more about creating the right conditions for all those beneficial fungi.
Right, giving those good guys a fighting chance. It's a long game, though.
It is. It really challenges how we usually think about gardening. I mean, tilling, that's always the first step, right?
Yeah, that's what I always thought. But Sarah makes a good point about how tilling can actually cause more weeds in the long run.
It's counterintuitive, but it's true.
And I gotta say, her enthusiasm for those native thistles, that was really something.
Oh, yeah, she loves those thistles. Most people see them as weeds, but she sees beauty.
It's like a reminder to maybe rethink what we consider desirable in a garden.
Totally. We get so caught up in those picture-perfect gardens, you know? But a real wildflower garden, it's going to have some plants that, well, maybe aren't traditionally pretty.
Yeah, some that might even make our neighbors raise an eyebrow.
Exactly. So it's not just about looks, right? It's about creating a mini ecosystem.
A haven for all kinds of creatures, even those spiky thistles.
Right. And those less glamorous insects we were talking about before, they probably benefit from those less popular plants too.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Providing different food sources, shelter, that kind of thing.
It's all about that web of life, right? Everything's connected. And that's why going native is so important.
Because they've evolved together, the plants and the insects.
Exactly. They're meant to be together. It's fascinating how people have different visions for their wildflower gardens. Some people want a more designed look, while others, they're all about the wild, spontaneous thing.
Yeah, it's like some people see a wildflower garden as a painting, all planned out, and others, it's more like a tapestry.
A tapestry, that's a good way to put it. Always changing, evolving.
I like that. What about you? Do you have a preference?
You know, I'm drawn to both. That curated look is appealing, but I also love how a natural wildflower patch just does its own thing.
Maybe a mix of both is the way to go?
Right. Have some planned areas and then some areas that are just free to do their thing.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I was wondering, with all this talk of wildflower gardens being low maintenance, I mean, how low maintenance are they really?
Yeah.
Especially for people who are busy.
That's a good point. Low maintenance doesn't mean no maintenance. Even a wildflower area, it still needs some attention.
Right. It's not like you just plant them and forget about them.
Exactly. Both Eve and Sarah, they talk about weed control being important, even in established wildflower areas.
That makes sense. You don't want invasive plants taking over and crowding out the good stuff.
No way. And Sarah was really honest about some of the challenges she's faced. She even hand pulls that Canada goldenrod to keep it from taking over her meadow.
Wow. So it's a constant battle.
Sounds like it. But I think that honesty is refreshing. Gardening isn't always easy, even with wildflowers.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's good to hear those real life experiences. It makes it more relatable.
Speaking of real life experiences, Sarah mentioned something I found really interesting. Have you ever heard of using controlled burns in a wildflower meadow?
I have, but honestly, it always sounded kind of scary to me.
I get it. It does sound extreme. But Sarah explained how fire is actually a natural part of a lot of prairie ecosystems. A controlled burn can be really beneficial, helping to clear out that dead stuff and encourage new growth.
That's a new way to look at it.
It's about working with nature, right?
Yeah, like a wildflower meadow, it's not static. It's always changing, responding to the seasons. and to fire, apparently.
Exactly. And I think Sarah's willingness to try different things, it's inspiring. It's all about learning and adapting, seeing what works best.
It's that experimental spirit that I really like about wildflower gardening. It's not just about following a set of rules, it's about being open to the unexpected.
I agree. It's a journey, an adventure.
Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the visual impact of wildflower gardens. What comes to mind?
I think of color, texture, lots of variety. It depends on the types of wildflowers and the overall design, of
Right.
course.
It's not just one look.
Definitely not. Remember those woodland wildflowers we were talking about? Their beauty is much more subtle.
Yeah, those delicate blooms in the shade, totally different from a meadow bursting with color.
Exactly. And Elizabeth, she really emphasized how important light and shade are when choosing woodland wildflowers.
Because they've adapted to those low light conditions,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It's all about choosing the right plant for the right place, even within a specific type of wildflower garden.
Back to that matchmaking idea again.
Yep. And those local resources we talked about, those can be super helpful for figuring out which wildflowers will thrive in your specific garden.
It's like having a personalized guide to the world of wildflowers.
Exactly. It's all about empowering yourself to create a wildflower garden that you truly connect with.
Wow. It's amazing how much we've covered. I feel like we've really created a roadmap for anyone who wants to start a wildflower garden.
I think so too. From the soil prep to actually picking the flowers and everything in between, what stands out to you from all this information?
You know, I think what's resonating with me most is that idea of shifting my perspective.
Yeah,
Like, we're so used to those perfectly manicured gardens, but with wildflowers, it's about letting go of some of that control.
I like that. Embracing a bit of wildness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being okay with plants that might not be what we typically think of as garden worthy.
Right. It's not just about what looks good in a magazine. It's about creating a healthy space. And I think that connects to what Sarah McHale was saying about experimenting and even making mistakes
Yeah, she's all about that hands-on learning,
and being open to the unexpected.
which is kind of the whole point of a wildflower garden, isn't it? It's a journey, not a destination.
So true. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what would you say are the most important pieces of advice for our listener? What should they keep in mind as they start their own wildflower journey?
Oh, it's a good question. What do you think?
Well, I think first and foremost, remembering that right plant, right place idea, really understanding your garden, the soil, the sun, all that, and then choosing wildflowers that will actually thrive there.
Yeah, like giving them the best possible chance.
Exactly. And don't forget those local resources, connecting with other gardeners, experts, whoever. There's so much knowledge out there.
It's like having a support system for your wildflower dreams.
That's a good way to put it. And, there's no need to go all out right away. Start small, experiment, learn as you go.
It's a process, right?
Absolutely. And part of that process is being okay with making mistakes. Every gardening failure is a lesson learned.
That's true. A wildflower garden teaches us a lot about patience, I guess.
And about the resilience of nature.
Well, I think we've given our listener a lot to think about. I know I'm feeling super inspired to get more wildflowers in my garden.
I'm glad to hear that. And as you start to see those wildflowers attracting pollinators and just adding that touch of wild beauty to your space, it's really rewarding.
It really is. And, I have a feeling this is just the beginning of my wildflower obsession.
That's great. Happy gardening.